Every story has one moment where everything could have changed. This is one of those moments. What if the most important escape in Hawkins never happened? Not because fate intervened, not because destiny changed its mind, but because one man paid attention. In the story we know, 11 escapes Hawkins National Laboratory during a moment of chaos. A hallway left unguarded, an alarm that sounds too late, a door that stays open just long enough. But history doesn't change because of miracles. It changes because of small decisions. And in this world, Dr. Martin Brenner makes one different decision. He watches. The security feed doesn't glitch. The guard doesn't look away. The alarm sounds immediately. 11 runs anyway, barefoot against cold concrete. Her heart pounding louder than the sirens. Blood on her heel from shattered glass. She reaches the end of the hallway. She sees the exit. And then everything goes dark. A needle slides into her neck. Her knees buckle. The world fades before she ever reaches the night sky. 11 never escapes, and the world never knows how close it came to being saved. 11 wakes up to silence. Not the comforting silence of sleep, but the kind that presses against her ears. Her wrists ache. Her ankles are restrained. Her head feels heavy, like it's filled with fog. The room is white, brighter than before, cleaner, stricter. Dr. Brenner stands at the foot of the chair, hands folded behind his back. He doesn't yell. He doesn't threaten. He looks disappointed. "You almost caused a catastrophe," he says calmly. "Do you understand that?" 11 doesn't answer. She already knows the punishment is coming. After the failed escape, Hawkins Lab changes completely. The guards stop talking to her. The technicians avoid eye contact. Even the smallest comforts disappear. No television, no music, no toys. Isolation becomes policy. Because Brenner understands something important. Pain creates resistance. But isolation breaks people quietly. They stop calling her 11. On the reports, she becomes Subject 11. On the doors, she is just a number. The experiments resume within days, harsher than ever. Longer hours in the sensory deprivation tank, more intense emotional manipulation. Forced exposure to the upside down without recovery time. They want results, and they get them. Her powers grow faster than before. Stronger telekinetic bursts. Clearer remote viewing. The ability to hold doors open longer. But every improvement costs her something. She stops asking questions, stops crying, stops imagining escape. Hope becomes dangerous. Because hope leads to action, and action leads to punishment. So she buries it, and in that quiet surrender, something inside her begins to harden. While 11 is trapped beneath Hawkins, life above ground continues. The buyer's house still smells like old paint and cigarettes. Mike Wheeler still argues with his parents about curfews. Dustin still believes the world makes sense if you look at it logically. And on one rainy night, Will Byers still rides his bike home. The road is dark, the woods are quiet. Until they aren't, the creature still appears. Tall, silent, hungry. Will runs. He reaches his house, grabs the rifle, locks the door. But there is no 11 to push back. No force strong enough to stop what comes next. Will disappears. Joyce Byers knows immediately that something is wrong. The police don't agree. They search the woods. They make polite promises. They tell her to be patient. But Joyce hears something at night. A whisper in the walls. A voice she recognizes. In the original timeline, 11 hears Will too. She guides him. She protects him. But here, no one answers. The lights flicker. Joyce screams into the dark, and the dark listens. Will survives longer than anyone realizes, hiding, running, terrified. But the upside down is patient. It doesn't rush, and eventually, Will Byers stops running. Hawkins loses its first child, and no one understands why. Mike, Dustin, and Lucas refuse to believe Will is gone. They search the woods themselves. They argue. They speculate. They follow every strange lead. But without 11, they have no advantage, no protection, no answers. They are just kids riding bikes into something far bigger than them. And the world doesn't reward bravery. It punishes it. Steve Harrington still throws the party. Nancy still goes. Barb still feels out of place. She still cuts her hand. Blood drips into the pool. And this time, nothing distracts the creature. Barb is taken quickly, quietly. Her body is never found. Nancy waits, and waits, and waits. But Barb never comes home. Something inside Nancy breaks, and it never fully heals. By the end of the first month, Hawkins is no longer the same town. Children stop going out at night. Parents whisper behind closed doors. People lock their doors earlier. The lab remains silent, watching, studying, and deep underground, Subject 11 floats in darkness, stronger than ever, and more alone than she has ever been. By the second month, Hawkins knows fear, not the loud kind, not panic, the quiet kind. Stores close earlier. Parents stop letting their kids ride bikes past sunset. The woods become forbidden. The town doesn't talk about Will Byers anymore, or Barb Holland. People speak in vague terms. Something bad happened. Kids go missing sometimes. Best not to think about it, because thinking about it makes the truth harder to ignore. Hawkins is sick, and no one knows how to cure it. Hawkins Lab knows exactly what's happening. Every disappearance, every spike in electromagnetic activity, every fluctuation from the gate. The scientists log it all. Dr. Brenner studies the data calmly. To him, the town is collateral, an unfortunate variable. The real concern is containment, because the gate is growing, slowly, quietly. And for the first time, Brenner understands something unsettling. The Upside Down is learning. 11 is no longer kept solely in the lab, not physically. Mentally, she is sent deeper than ever before. She is placed in the sensory deprivation tank daily, sometimes for hours, sometimes until she collapses. She is forced to locate creatures, track victims, map the Upside Down. She sees people die through static. She hears their final thoughts. And no one tells her she's sorry. No one tells her it isn't her fault. Each mission hardens her. Each scream pushes her further away from humanity. She begins to associate people with pain and silence with peace. Brenner stops pretending 11 is a child. He begins speaking to her like a tool. Precise, cold, transactional, focus. Again, harder. Her powers evolve. She can hold doors open longer, push back creatures with greater force, peer deeper into the Upside Down than ever before. But there is a cost. She struggles to sleep. She dissociates during experiments. Sometimes, she doesn't recognize her own reflection. The girl named 11 is fading. What remains is something sharper, more dangerous. Disappearances accelerate, not daily, but often enough. Enough to ruin lives. Enough to make people leave. Families pack up and move overnight. Houses sit empty. Hawkins becomes known beyond Indiana, a place where strange things happen. The government denies everything. The lab tightens its perimeter, and still, the gate grows. During one session in the tank, something changes. 11 isn't searching. She isn't listening for victims. She's floating, drifting, and then she hears it. A voice, not panicked, not afraid, calm, familiar. "You're not alone," it says. She freezes. The voice knows her, knows the lab, knows Brenner. It speaks her name, not her number. Henry, Vecna. For the first time in her life, someone understands what she's become. Vecna doesn't threaten her. He doesn't command her. He explains. He tells her she was never meant to escape, that the lab would have hunted her forever, that she was always meant to be a replacement, a successor. He shows her memories, not lies, truths, Children broken by the lab, lives discarded, experiments that never ended. 11 listens, and something shifts. As 11 floats in the tank, she doesn't pull away, she doesn't scream, she listens. For the first time, the upside down doesn't feel like a prison. It feels like an invitation. 11 does not tell the lab about the voice. She learns very quickly that some things are safer when kept hidden. During sessions in the tank, she listens. Henry speaks slowly, carefully, as if afraid she might disappear if he pushes too hard. He tells her about the upside down not as a monster's realm, but as a mirror, a world shaped by pain, a world that responds to thought, emotion, memory. He tells her that the lab didn't open the gate by accident. They opened it because they wanted control, and control always demands a sacrifice. 11 understands that word better than anyone. Brenner senses something changing. 11's vitals are stronger, her focus sharper, her emotional responses muted. She no longer reacts with fear, she reacts with calm. The scientists call it progress. Brenner calls it evolution. But there are anomalies. Moments where 11 resists commands. Moments where the gate reacts without instruction. The lab tightens control again. More sedation, more isolation, more pressure. They believe obedience can still be forced. They are wrong. Above ground, Hawkins is barely holding together. Half the town is left. The remaining families live cautiously, not happily. The police no longer investigate disappearances aggressively. They've learned the truth can't be fixed. It can only be survived. The woods are silent, too silent. The upside down has stopped leaking randomly. Instead, it waits, like something preparing for a single, deliberate move. In the tank, Henry shows 11 something new. Not destruction, possibility. A vision of the lab collapsing. Not from monsters, but from itself. He shows her the final experiment before it happens. A permanent gate. A doorway that will never close. The lab believes this will give them total control. Henry knows it will destroy them. And he gives 11 a choice. Not an order, a choice. The day arrives. Every scientist is present. Every system is active. The gate opens wider than it ever has. The room shakes. Alarms scream. Brenner watches 11 closely, waiting for obedience. 11 closes her eyes, and for the first time in her life, she decides for herself. She doesn't close the gate. She doesn't let it expand. She turns it inward. The lab collapses. Walls crack. Machines tear themselves apart. Years of secrets die in seconds. Brenner looks at her, not angry, afraid, and then he's gone. The explosion is contained, barely. The upside down recedes, but it does not close. Because 11 doesn't return, she steps fully into the darkness. Not as a prisoner, not as a weapon, but as something in between. A guardian, a consequence. The gate stabilizes. The town survives. But nothing is healed. Hawkins is rebuilt slowly. People return cautiously. The truth is never revealed. Officially, it was a chemical accident. Unofficially, everyone knows. The upside down remains. Dormant, watching, and somewhere beyond the veil, 11 watches too. No friends, no childhood, no applause, just balance. Because in this world, 11 never escaped. And because of that, she saved the world, at the cost of ever being part of it. And that's where this timeline ends. But in another universe, things might have turned out very differently. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more what-if scenarios from movies and TV shows. And tell us in the comments What should we change next?